I recently visited Cuba and made a video about the cars there. It was something unforgettable. But its public transport deserved a separate video, which will be useful if you ever decide to go to Cuba. So let's start with the buses, or as they call them here, guaguas. They run along 17 set routes connecting central Havana with the suburbs. The hub for many of the routes is Parque de la Fraternidad. They are hot, crowded and used mainly by locals, but curious, budget-conscious tourists can give them a try. Fares cost around 10 pesos or 40 cents, pay on entry and watch your bags. Public cars are a smaller alternative that run on additional routes. They will stop anywhere along their route to pick up or drop off passengers if they have space. Though they use some special sign language that locals use to stop them, waving your arms around may or may not work. So depending on where you are on the skin color scale, getting to or from the airport to Havana will cost around 20 euros. The public cars don't go to the doors of the airport. They can drop you off at the Avenida de Boyeros, the large freeway here, and you have to walk about 3 kilometers to the actual entrance of the airport. So you lose a little bit of time, but you can save 20 euros per person on this ride. So for getting around the rest of Cuba, outside of Havana, you have a couple of options. You can have a private taxi that will bring you anywhere you want.
Paradero, Viñales, Trinidad, I offer my services for all Cuba.
Plus you will arrive in style, for instance in a pink 1960s Cadillac Eldorado. That was a nice ride. Original Cadillac cabrio, only 2 in Cuba, according to the owner. And the engine has been changed, of course, to Mercedes diesel. The cheaper option is Via Sul buses. You have to order the ticket beforehand, at least 2 days before. And the ordering system is unreliable and inconvenient. So you will have to fill millions of fields on the web page several times before you get it working. The payment system is a problem. The verification system is real pain in the ass. Plus, most of these pages are not accessible without a VPN. So once you have received your confirmation email, it doesn't end there. You have to check in as you would on a flight. So you have to check in the office and then register the luggage separately, and it is not entirely clear in which of those offices you have to do that. So it's better to come at least 2 hours early and ask around where on that particular day you have to register. The bus station itself is something worth checking out. It has kind of communist vibe with the building from the 80s modernism era, and it has pretty good cafeteria with all sorts of snacks like pizzas and even Western branded chips, Pringles and drinks. Another option in Havana is Coco Taxi. Among all the weird vehicles on the streets of Havana, it still stands out. The only practical advantage though is that it might be able to squeeze through heavy traffic. More than anything else, it's just an interesting experience. I took Coco Taxi to a really nice neighborhood called Vedado, and yeah, it costs the same as a normal taxi, but it's definitely more enjoyable. It is like an open motorcycle with no helmet, no windshield, nothing, so it's windy, noisy, smelly, but it's awesome. Private taxis, mostly Russian ladders, roam the streets in search of fares or wait at spots little away from the official taxi ranks. They are generally cheaper than state-operated taxis, but are less luxurious, forget air conditioning and pray there is a seatbelt. Foreign currency, ideally euros, is the preferred method of payment. These taxis are cash only. Agree on a fare before you get in. Three-wheeled bicycle rickshaws work primarily in Havana Vieja, where the streets are too narrow for the cars. They charge around 50 pesos, about 2 euros or dollars per ride. Agree on rates before you get in and expect a bumpy journey. Renting a car in Havana generally is not worth the expense or hassle. A lot of potholes, chaotic traffic, and the paperwork involved can be a very tedious ordeal. Despite that, I did rent an electric Cuban-made scooter. The trip didn't end well though. The batteries ran out of juice halfway to my intended destination, despite indicating half the charge. After an hour, help arrived and I was convinced I'm a moron who can't read the charge indicator. And guess what happened next?
Now there are three of us.
After attempting to push my scooter back, the rescuer's battery died too. Well, the joke is on me. I could have chosen the more expensive Spanish-made scooter. That's it for this video. See you in the next one.